Meet the Expert, a knowledge-sharing initiative of your knowledge partner, the Developing Bangladesh. We discuss on trade, investment, commerce, education, skills, economic development, global peace and prosperity, etc. issues. If you are interested to these issues, please subscribe to the channel. Developing Bangladesh, your knowledge partner, please subscribe now.
Assalamu alaikum. Dear audience, in Meet the Expert session, we usually listen from an international expert on a very specific issue. Today, I am very delighted to host Mr. Muhammad Rizwanul Haq, founding chairman, Dawood Family Takaful, Pakistan. He will be speaking on Islamic economic system. As you all know, since a very ancient age, human beings, while they started to be civilized, to be socialized, they have to exchange their commodities with each other. They have to produce their agriculture crops. They have to produce their animals, everything. Thus, the economic system started to be evolving. Later on, while industrial revolution occurred in the western part, then this economic system again get another shape, another formal format. After the industrial revolution, while the laborers were just depriving by the industrialists, this then period socialism came, and socialism showed another pathway of economic management. Socialism, communism, and modern free market economy, everything is there. But from the Islamic Sharia, we got a very concrete Islamic economic system where interest is prohibited, but one can have profit through his business. So there is some distinction between normal economic system, economic management, or free market economy, or capitalism, or socialism, between and the Islamic economic system. So today we'll be learn everything from our renowned research person today, Mr. Rizwanul Haq. Before further I do, I would like to humbly request you, sir, could you please introduce yourself with me and my audience?
Assalamu alaikum, brother Journal, and thank you very much to yourself and to Developing Bangladesh for giving this opportunity to share on what is the message of Quran and Sunnah on riba, economics, business finance, and lawmaking. So in the light of these verses from the Holy Quran, I'm going to share some brief view, and then we can have a question answer session. And we are making this humble effort with the view to spread the message of Quran and Sunnah, and also to raise the voice against the oppression and the masses which are subject to social economic injustice. So thank you very much once again. And it's an honor and a privilege to be on this forum, and I will be delighted to share my views. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you very much. If you would like to introduce yourself for the audience.
I am an MBA from Institute of Business Administration, Lahore. I did my master's in 1992, and ever since then I've been engaged with the different types of financial institutions, which includes an investment bank, a multinational bank, equity brokerage house, mutual funds, Islamic bank, Islamic life insurance. So the experience is from the financial sector. And as you know that banks are involved with all sorts of sectors and industry. So we have got a wide experience of manufacturing, service industry, trading, IT, and how the fundraising is done, how companies are listed, how the modern financial system operates in the world, what are the limitations, and how the masses are being subject to injustice.
So perfect. Dear audience, today we are going to learn Islamic economic system from a finance people. He is involved with banking system, non-banking financial institutions, also capital market, and many more. So before further, could you please, sir, present your keynote presentation, and then we'll obviously have a question and answer session.
So today, I understand that there would be a mix of audience. There would be learned people who know economics and finance very well. But in this presentation, I would like that even a layman or someone who does not have the background of finance and banking or economics, this is an introductory session. So I want them to be included in this so that they can also take benefit of this presentation. So basically, it is revealed message versus acquired knowledge. So revealed message is something which has been sent down by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and acquired knowledge or something which are man-made theories. So I'll begin with the recitation from the Holy Quran. And for today's presentation, I've chosen Surah 13. And it is one of the most beautiful surah which was recited by Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And the companion were so happy when it was first recited by him. And since it talks of olives and fig, so I have also included the picture of olives and fig to make it more realistic. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wal-tin wal-zaytun wa-tur sinin wa hadha al-balad al-amin. Laqad khalaqna al-insana fi ahsani taqwim. Thumma radadnahu asfala safilin.
Sadaqallahu al-Azim. So now let's start the presentation. It's revealed knowledge, and revealed knowledge is something which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been sending down through his commandment from time to time through his 124,000 messengers and the holy book and other scriptures. It includes do's and don'ts, wisdom, and more importantly, in today's world, lawmaking, that how justly laws should be made. It is unfortunate that in today's world, or even prior to that, and it is the powerful and the authoritative, they do the lawmaking, they write the rules, and they are sometimes so biased that the oppressor is always in a commanding position, and the general public remain oppressed. For example, some 30 years ago, until 30 years ago, there was a law in South Africa that blacks and dogs are not allowed in the malls and in the hotel. Now, it was a law. So anyone breaching the law would subject to punishment. So law and man-made theories can be it's in the hand of the powerful and the authoritative. But the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which has been sent down, and Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has completed the religion. Quran is the last book, and it has completed all the messages. It has got wisdom, it has got law. It talks of everything from astrology to medicine to chemistry to geology, and also economics, finance, and lawmaking on it. So we will take it from here. So first of all, is capitalism carved in stone? I mean, why interest would always be a reward for capital? Will it achieve economic goals? Land and labor are subject to business risk. I mean, you sow a seed and then you wait, and then you plow it, then you wait for the rain, or you water the land, only then you get the harvest. Similarly, labor, only when there is an opportunity, labor would be engaged. So why not interest can be subject to such business risk? Why its reward is permanent, and it grows from over and above the principal amount? That's the capital in today's system of capitalism doesn't take business risk. It takes only credit risk. That I'm going to lend you money, the risk is whether you will be able to return it to me or not. So the capitalist doesn't take the business risk. Now, just to have an idea that man-made theories can go invalid over time. I mean, we have seen Aristotle thought that life comes out from non-living things that we have read in school. Then there was a theory that Earth is spherical. Then there is also that humans are bound without traits. So these theories have now gone invalid. But the theory or the message of Quran is valid. It will hold for all the times to come, and it cannot go invalid or outdated. So let's make an attempt. Let's talk of interest, no interest at all. And if there is any interest in the system or in the institution, then it is not Islamic. Today, we can see that the menace of loan and interest is ruining economies. Even the biggest economy in the world, the US, is, always under pressure. The advantage is that they can keep on printing notes, or they can just add on zeros in their computer system. And that is how the bailouts are given, and everyone survives. So it's basically a fresh, a bigger, and a more expensive loan, which is keeping this system called capitalism buoyant. Otherwise, it can also collapse like communism, which collapsed some 30 years ago. So in comparison, if we take guidance from the message of Quran and Sunnah, the first revelation on riba was in Surah Rum, which is chapter 30, verse number 39, and it forbade interest in any form. So basically, it is not only interest, which is not to be included in Islamic economic system, it's interest, along with loan as money-making option. Loan is only for financially weak people. Loan is not to multiply your business, to expand your business empire. It is for financially weak people, for travelers, for someone who is in need. And this elaboration is in verses of Surah Baqarah from 280 to 283. So it's interest, it's loan, and then comes the concept of leveraging. which is a very important factor in capitalism. Normally, a businessman or an entrepreneur or a company is going to put in, it's only 30% and 70% is raised from loan from banks. And that has been, not allowed, not permitted as per the message of Surah Nisa, verse number 161, that you cannot wrongfully appropriate other people's wealth or property. So what these banks or entrepreneurs, they are doing, they are taking loan which is basically belonging to general public or to the masses. Even the government, the companies, they are wrongfully appropriating the bulk of the profit is being kept by them, and a small portion is given to the masses, and that is injustice. The fourth thing, along with interest, loans, and leveraging, is prevailing system of banking, that is both conventional and Islamic, because both types of bank, they trade in money, which is contradictory to Surah Baqarah, verse number 275. Allah has permitted trading in commodity, but trading in money is forbidden. And what banks do, they trade in money. They purchase from the depositor, say at 5%, and then they sell it to a borrower at 10%, and they keep a spread of 5%. That's trading in money. And that is how banks restrict the economic activity. Now, anyone who understands the concept of IRR would know that how much interest is important. If interest is 0%, then on more occasion, an entrepreneur or a businessman would like to engage its capital in a business activity. And here, Islam, or the message of Quran and Sunnah, is giving us an opportunity that interest is 0. Now, every activity would engage people from all sections of the society, as workers, as laborers, as farmers. And since all of them would be engaged in an economic activity, so there would be a balanced growth. There would be no inflation. There would be no poverty. There won't be any unemployment, which is basically the goal of a balanced economy. Whereas a pure Islamic transaction cannot be structured with interest. And we have to see these transactions in isolation with prevailing norms. It is not that something is available in the market and you just adopt it by executing a few documents. Of course, the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on riba is far-fetched, especially with regards to promotion of real economic activity, as we have discussed. Socio-economic justice. We are talking of just or a fair distribution of wealth, not equal distribution. Everything is dependent on the market, and the market forces are demand and supply. And this is how it would be balanced. Creation of job for every person in the society, whosoever is looking for job, especially for the lower income groups. Controlling inflation and poverty alleviation. Now, I have picked up views of a few economists. Anthony Giddens wrote his book, The Third Way, in October 1998. It says that socialism has collapsed and capitalism is on the brink. So he talks of the third way. And Anthony Giddens was economic advisor to Prime Minister Tony Blair in 1998. So economists who understand these things are looking for something which is beyond capitalism and communism. Similarly, recently, I think in 2015, Thomas Piketty, a French economist, wrote his book, Capital in the 21st Century. And if you see his, I picked up the exact word which he has written, there would be inequality if return of wealth is greater than the economic growth. So basically, return on wealth, if you compare it with the interest, so you are getting an automatic growth, automatic wealth increase. And if the growth is not at par with the return, then there would be inequalities. And inequalities lead to disparity, and then disparity results in conflicts, and terrorism. It's one of the worst form of conflict. Then Keynes, a renowned economist, he doesn't need any introduction. He says that it's an extraordinary belief that the nastiest men, for their mean reasons, would somehow work for the benefit of the masses. So it's not possible that the capitalist is going to work for the benefit of the workers and the farmers and the laborers. His motive would be only to multiply his wealth. And that's exactly what has been happening. However, in the light of the injustice of capitalism, Karl Marx wrote his manifesto in a total revolt. But I think he ignored the importance of private enterprise. He wrote, I think, in 1848, and Russian Revolution led by V.I. Lenin came in 1911. So it was after 70 years of his writing that it was actually implemented. So he probably didn't anticipate that how it is going to result when it would be implemented. But here, as a duty of a Muslim and responsibility is to establish laws in Islamic societies. We have to ensure that in Islamic society, we follow the rules which have been set by Quran and Sunnah, and we avoid and forbade from the things which we've been restricted from. This is how the deeds would be decided. Unfortunately, there are today, fortunately, there are 57 independent Muslim countries, but none of them can claim that they are Islamic because their political, economic, social, family laws are not as per the prescribed laws of Quran and Sunnah. So lot needs to be done before these Muslim countries could actually call them Islamic. Money in the Islamic economic system is only a lubricant. It is just to facilitate the trade. Otherwise, people used to deal in barter. But here, if you are creating money from money, then things are going to go in the other direction. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has very clearly mentioned in Surah Baqarah, verse number 279, that it is a notice of declaration of war from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam for anyone who is taking riba or giving riba and even subscribing to riba. Interest, the opposite of interest is charity. Now, the economic laws won't believe this. They would think that interest increases your wealth. Here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in verse number 2, Surah Baqarah 73 and 74, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that do charity and your wealth is going to increase in hereafter. So basically, for example, if you are traveling from Bangladesh to the US, what you may do, that you may wire some funds to your friend, that when I reach, you give it to me. So similarly, here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is motivating us that we should wire the funds which are available in this world to the next or in the hereafter, and maybe the currency there would be in the shape of whatever zakat, khairat, or sadqat we do in this world. In view of the above, I mean, this short presentation, and also it's not only Islam, it's all Abrahamic faith, whether it is Judaism or Christianity, usury or riba or interest is forbidden. It's only that they have changed the meaning of these words. For example, in Judaism, usury is forbidden, but they say that usury is forbidden only when you are trading with your brother, meaning that if a Jew is trading with a Jew, only then it is forbidden. Otherwise, you can, take interest or, enter into an interest-based transaction. Similarly, until the 4th century, in Christianity, it was forbidden, but later it was transformed that up to a certain limit, it is a very high rate of interest is usury. Otherwise, to facilitate a transaction, I think in 1988, the Church of Scotland allowed that transactions which are as per the prevailing norms in the country or in the economy can be accepted as far as the interest is concerned. But since it is a message, so it should be accepted in letter and spirit, not only blindly, but also we can see that it will eradicate economic woes like unemployment, poverty, inflation, low productivity, and especially it is going to help the masses, the oppressed people. Otherwise, there won't be any justice in the economy. And this is the reason we are trying to raise our voice. We are trying to spread the message that just like you have tried communism, you must look at Islamic economic system, which would be a big change, just like there was a big change from capitalism to socialism. It is not something which can easily be adopted. It is not something which can be done by executing a few papers and someone endorsing it, or by changing the name from leasing to ijara, or from mortgage finance to diminishing musharaka, and from sukuk to from bonds to sukuk. So it would be a big drastic change. And most importantly, the function of bank in Islamic economic system would be restricted to only two. One, it would be a security house, because you are not going to keep your money under your pillow. So you have to deposit with an institution or at a place where it remains secure. And second function would be a facilitator of transfer of money from one place to the other, including the settlement of foreign transactions. Foreign trade transactions, of course, would be done through. So it would be more of a service institution. But most importantly, it would not be permitted. Banks in Islamic economic system would not be permitted to use depositors' money. And then it would be something which is going to promote real economic activity. It would be not something which would be based, paper-based, or something which changes 5 hands before a real economic activity takes place. Both, since money or the funds are not going to earn any return sitting in the bank, so both private and public sector, they are going to announce or advertise a project inviting investors. And the depositors who are not getting any return, so their IRR, they would be motivated even if the return on these projects is, say, 1% or 2%, but it would be involved in a project. And then, as we know that it is usually 30 to 70% debt equity ratio, here it would be all 100% equity based. But on the board, if you are, as an entrepreneur or the manager of the project, you have invested 30% and there are 7 seats on the board, so you will get only 2 seats. The remaining 5 seats would be from general public. Unlike something which is happening today, since 70% is leveraged, 70% is loan coming from the banks, so they don't have representation of the actual owner of the money on the project or on the company. So this is again injustice, which in Islamic economic system would be taken care of. Here, I mean, the best project and the desired, I mean, you would have the option to invest. You can invest directly yourself, or there would be managers like mutual funds. But unlike banks, mutual fund don't keep a spread. Mutual fund just charge management fees. Of course, I mean, they are utilizing their expertise, so they won't keep a spread. But since there won't be any interest, so the Islamic mutual funds would be different from the mutual funds which are, I mean, in practice today. So this is a short presentation to just give you an idea, and a disclaimer that the above are personal views and the presenter of the presenter, and the company and other stakeholders may not agree with them. So, I mean, it's my personal view, so I've put a disclaimer to it. So that's all from my end.
Sir, thank you very much. In the keynote, you have rightly pointed out that the law should be from the creator, from the original owner of the civilization. Law from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you have rightly mentioned that as Allah said, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Allah al-bayya wa harrama al-riba. So the business is accepted, allowed, but making profit by lending money at a particular specific rate without your lever, without your risk, then it is prohibited. You have rightly pointed out that current banking system only takes credit risk of non-payment, but not they are taking business risk. An entrepreneur may get profit or he may lose. While an entrepreneur loses, the banking system never consider it. They will charge their interest at a specific rate, whether the entrepreneur will gain or loss. So therefore, it is prohibited. You have also rightly pointed out that all the major religion, Abrahamic religion like Islam, Judaism, Christianity, the original scripture, it is the interest is prohibited, but it is allowed afterwards while people create pressure. I don't know whether current Islamic banking system is another format of these charts, the charts of England or charts of Scotland allowed riba in Christianity transaction. I don't know whether this is like this. I will come to you with my questions in this regard. You have rightly pointed out that if it is not fixed and it is equity based, then the economic activity will be promoted. Currently, myself, I am not going to take loan from bank and start my entrepreneurial journey because riba is prohibited. This is the primary reason. Secondary reason, there is a specific rate of interest, so I may lose in the business activity. Then I have to ensure the repayment. It is quite challenging. So this is the reason why entrepreneurship is not getting boom in our countries, like in the developing countries, where social security is not there. If it is developed country, social security is there, government bailout is there, then obviously case is different. But as our religion is not permitting us to do so, we will not do. Third one, you have rightly quoted some renowned economists. While I can just remember, if the return on wealth is greater than economic growth, then it will create inequality in the society. It is perfectly all right. Because if I give you example of Bangladesh economic scenario, then the rate of interest is 9%. Bangladesh economy is growing at 5.4%. So there is a gap between 9 and 5.4. This is creating the inequality in our society. If it is completely Islamic Sharia-based economic system, and where everybody will be ensured that you will get your fooding, you will through zakat system. Obviously, zakat could be a very useful formula in this regard for social safety net, for social security. And you have rightly pointed out there are 57 so-called Muslim countries. As they are not following the Islamic rules, I will not say totally Muslim countries. So-called Muslim countries, they are afraid of to introduce themselves as a Muslim. In most of the Muslim countries, the leaders are afraid of. They are saying secularism. They are introduced themselves as secular leader, as impartial leader, as religiously neutral leaders. Therefore, the fate of Muslim countries is like this. So this is another dimension. It is not covered in today's area. And you have also rightly pointed out that the interest versus charity, these are opposite words. Current economic system, the capitalism system, is saying that yes, the interest will ensure the valuation of your assets. It is depreciating every day. So to stop the depreciation of your money kept in a bank, they are offering interest. So this is the logic of current economic system. But as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, no, you just invest here what you have, what I gave you, and you will get the reward afterward in this world as well. So obviously we'll follow this action. So in this regard, now I would like to ask you one question that
brother, just
most important things I have missed out as you were quoted, that if you would like to go through the interest, then get ready to fight against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger. So this is the final declaration. War has been declared. Get ready for that. So this is the scenario. So
you pointed out a very important aspect, that why we have got 57 Muslim countries today and none is Islamic, because the leaders, they want to show that they are secular.
Yes.
And this reminds me one very important hadith in this regard. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that faith and greed cannot coexist in a human heart. So if we have got greed of the worldly attraction, then of course we are going to ignore faith and belief. And that is why today we are not Islamic and we have become nation state. And there is another hadith that when that we have the world has become attractive and the fear of death has been imposed upon us. So these are the 2-3 reasons why they do not want to follow the faith. Yes, please continue.
Yeah. Actually, thank you very much for your wonderful presentation and a very brief introduction about Islamic economic system. Now, I would like to go through a question and answer session. My first question will be, as you know, there are capitalism, which is followed by the West, mainly the US, EU countries, and some other countries. The socialism and communism, followed by Russia, China, and Cuba, or other Venezuela, these countries. Also, there are Islamic system of economic management, though it is not purely followed by any Muslim countries, but somehow I think in Saudi Arabia and some other countries, they have up to a certain level this arrangement. So up to a certain level, because in Bangladesh we have Islamic banks, in Pakistan you have Islamic bank, and many other states. So I will not say 100% Islamic Sharia-based operation of this bank, because they also fix the rate while they allot money or credit loan, and they charge it as it is, maybe 1 or 2% plus minus. But no bank till now, I never heard any Islamic bank accept any loss. While the entrepreneur occurred the loss, they accept it. I never heard it. So this is the reason I am conservative to say Islamic bank only, up to a certain level. So what is the difference between socialism, capitalism, and Islamic economic?
Well, capitalism and communism are both man-made theories. In capitalism, it is, as I mentioned, that it is authoritative and the powerful who are making the rules. And the capitalists, they are in power. They are taking the advantage of the money circulating in the system. While in communism, all the power is with the state. And since it's with the state, they leave no incentive for a common man. So that is against human nature. If there is no incentive, then, I mean, if you are getting everything sitting at home, whether you do your work or not, so you are getting the same level of living. So that is against human nature. I mean, man wants to do something in this world. They want to excel, they want to succeed, they want to show their performance, and that opportunity is not available. Whereas in Islamic system, it offers you incentive, it offers you the free enterprise. So unlike communism, you can have a free enterprise because it is a welfare system. So through zakat and sadqat and Baitul Mal, they are giving you basic necessities of health, education, infrastructure. Basic infrastructure is available through that support system, which to some extent is available in European countries. Yeah.
Sir, thank you. Thank you very much. Actually, we, as previously I was criticizing about the role of Islamic banking system in different Muslim countries. But as a banker, what is your opinion? Is it the model which is said in the Holy Quran or Sunnah?
You see, today's prevailing system of Islamic banking and finance cannot be touted as something which has been prescribed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The reason being that they have accepted interest, the forbidden factor interest in Islamic scheme of things. And that is why I mean, the Sharia advisors themselves should raise their voice that it is not as per the teachings of Quran and Sunnah. But I think it's vested interest, perhaps a little bit of ignorance, because it is a specialized field, just like medical science, economics and finance has become very complex over the last, say, 200 to 300 years. It is not something which can easily be understood by Islamic scholars. So maybe there is a 30% chance that it is being done in ignorance, but 70%, they also have vested interest. They also see that they have entered into the corporate sector. They can also enjoy the luxuries which they used to envy some 30, 40 years ago. So maybe that's the reason. But the prevailing system is not at all Islamic.
So you are saying that prevailing Islamic banking system is not as per the law of Quran. But we see in their Sharia board, there are famous Maulanas, I mean, the Islamic scholars are there, Muftis are there, they are providing fatwa. This is one scenario. Another scenario, banking is a completely specialized field of knowledge, which is taught in finance and banking, or sometimes in larger scale in economics or business studies. But a Maulana who is studied in Arabic or Quran and Hadith, obviously they have some guidance, different fatwas, but how these finance, banking, economics, and Islamic studies, these are just coincided, and they are offering a new system called Islamic banking, where no loss is accepted by any Islamic bank of the world. So how would you like to evaluate this scenario?
It's a very good question and a very pertinent question. And I will start from where I left my previous response, that today's prevailing system of Islamic banking and finance is not at all Islamic, Sharia compliant, riba free, or halal, because they have accepted prevailing interest rate in the country as a benchmarking factor. And we know that the definition of interest is the definition of riba means growth, augmentation, increase, swell in different verses where riba has been used in Quran apart from business and finance. So anything which is growing over and above the principal amount is interest. Secondly, you mentioned about the renowned muftis and maulanas who have given the fatwa. Please note that fatwas are not sought and ijtihad is not employed if authentic and authoritative text of Quran and Sunnah is ambiguous. Fatwas are sought when there is some ambiguity in the message of Quran and Sunnah. There is no ambiguity with regards to riba. So then giving an opportunity to use LIBOR or the prevailing interest rate in Islamic scheme of things is something which is not allowed by the Sharia laws for the muftis to issue fatwa. I'll give you an example. Would you go to a mufti seeking a fatwa that how many times do you need to pray during the day? Do you need a fatwa? Do you need a fatwa that whether for the oneness of Allah?
No.
Similarly, I mean, why do we need to go to a mufti seeking a fatwa that whether we can use prevailing interest rate in Islamic scheme of things, in Islamic bank or in Islamic transactions? That is not possible. So that's the reason. Because you see, and there is a 5-step process when you actually go for a fatwa. One, you look for the answer in Quran. If you don't find it, then you look for the answer in Sunnah. If you don't find it, then you look for an answer in something which was done during that period and Prophet ﷺ remained silent, or whether he made an objection. If all these 3 scenarios are silent, only then you go and seek for a fatwa or for an ijtihad, that whether we can use something which is, ambiguous. For example, a lot of people think that using a picture is not Islamic, but they have sought a fatwa that a picture in a passport is allowed, because otherwise a person cannot travel. So here, since there was no clear message in Quran and Sunnah, that is why a fatwa was sought. But here, seeking a fatwa that you can use LIBOR, or you can use, say, prevailing interest rate in Bangladesh to be included in Islamic economic system, or Islamic banking, or Islamic transaction, that's absolutely forbidden. And this is sinful. And I'll give you one more example from Quran. You must have read the Surah Al-Araf, verse number 163 to 166, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had restricted Bani Israel not to do fishing on Saturday, people of Sabbath. And the test was that during the week, the fish didn't used to come near the coast, and only on Saturday they used to come near the coast. That was a challenge or a trial. So what they did some arrangement on Friday. They didn't do fishing on Saturday, and Sunday they used to go and pick it up. So there were 3 types of people in that nation. One who were doing it, one who were silent and they were not raising their voice. The third were who were raising their voice. And if you read these 4 verses, you would come to know that people who were doing it and the people who were silent were made monkeys, apes. And only successful were those who were actually stopping them. So using riba, using interest or LIBOR in Islamic scheme of things is just like what people of Sabbath were doing during that time. So they were trying to astutely circumvent a commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this, I think, is a bigger crime than what, if you know that there is a wine in a bottle, you won't drink it. But if a mufti says, no, this is not wine, this is, say, 7-Up, then you will drink it. So similarly, here, Islamic banks are saying, no, we are riba free, but actually they are riba based.
So actually, it is the current scenario in most of the Muslim countries. And as we see, we are the followers, not practitioners. If we are the practitioners, then the scenario may change. But one curiosity, that Quran is guiding us towards right direction. We believe that Quran guiding us towards right direction. But why these 57 Muslim countries don't have such a banking system in any of these countries, which is as per the law of the Quran? What is the reason behind?
We have become free, but we are still, as you said, we are following a capitalist system. We borrow from foreign multilateral agencies. So after First World War, we became independent. Some countries in Africa and Asia became independent after Second World War, but they are still dependent. Now, they are not colonies, but they are still being controlled by these foreign multilateral agencies, because we have we are entrapped in this debt trap. We cannot decide our fortunes are on our own. That is how bad loan and interest is. So to make ourselves independent, there has to be a drastic change which something similar to what Pakistan experienced during the early 70s, when they changed their economy from capitalist to near socialist, and where everything was taken over by, everything was nationalized. I mean, that's sort of a drastic change we are talking about.
So actually, everything nationalized. This is not also fully endorsed by Quran, because public money, public enterprises, free enterprises, these are allowed in Quran. So yeah, everything nationalized, it is not also as per law of Quran. Do you think the Muslim countries should take initiative to change their economies from capitalism or socialism into a complete Islamic economic system? Why not countries are taking this initiative, and how to do this?
This is again a very good question, and I'll give you example of Karl Marx again. We don't have a clear roadmap. Now, as I mentioned that in 1911, when V.I. Lenin brought this revolution in Russia, he had a clear roadmap. He knew what to do, because 70 years ago, Karl Marx had given a manifesto of communism, that these are the steps to be undertaken. Here, we all know, and we may be inculcating the message of Quran and Sunnah, but do you have a guidebook? Do you have a clear roadmap that how it needs to be done? One, so that's the primary reason. Secondly, how many leaders actually believe, as you said, that they want to keep politics or economics away from the religion. They want to show themselves as secular. So unless someone who believes in the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Sunnah of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also someone who believes in hereafter, that here our stay is very limited, and tomorrow when we'll go, we are going to be accounted for our deeds, what we perform. Now today, whatever we are doing, Allah knows our intent. We are making an effort so that we can spread the message. We are raising the voice against the prevailing injustice, the socio-economic injustice prevailing in our society, in our economies. And we can only make an effort. Tomorrow, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to do it, He only needs to say kun, and it will get done. But maybe tomorrow we won't be around. So when the question would be asked that what did you do? So at least we can say that we made an effort. It comes in Surah Al Imran, verse number 104, that when you see an evil, try to stop it with your hand. So you need to have a group of people who are actually inviting people towards goodness and stopping them from the way which leads to sinful activities. Similarly, so we are raising our voice with our tongue. We are trying to stop the evil through our hand, and pen for me is hand, just like sword. So this is something which is being done. And tomorrow, you, me, anyone would be rewarded for the deed which we are doing today. And when the time will come, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only has to say kun, and it would be done. But in the meantime, it is very important for the Islamic leaders they should be talking to each other. They should be thinking deeply into the message. I was talking about the roadmap. So it may be a prototype roadmap, but it is in the mind of everyone who is in this field, who sincerely wants to bring about a change. So that has to be properly structured so that tomorrow, if someone wants to implement it, they can implement.
Actually, the socialism, it started, capitalism started its journey maybe 500 years ago. Capitalism, while Europe was starting to industrialization, while the North American countries was just rebelling, just initiating their activities, economic activities. So maybe 500 years ago. Then socialism and communism came even later than maybe 200 years ago. By this time, these two systems already socialism failed because all the socialist and communist countries like Russia, like China, they adopted the capitalism in some format because they are not totally socialist or communist now. Even the North Korea, they adopted few things from capitalism. We are seeing this capitalism, while the interest rate is higher than economic growth, it is creating discrimination in the society. This is also going to be failed, but it is not failing due to bailouts. All the economic recessions are coming, and all the recessions, the economic bailout, thus it is like life support. It goes to life support and come back again. So why not this Islamic economic system, which is prescribed even 1400 years ago, it is not being implemented. So what are the wrong with communism and socialism, according to you?
See, again, it's lack of faith, and this is ever since Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This is these last 100 years from 1923 onwards. This is the only period when we don't have Khilafah. Earlier, we always had Khilafah. So there was a say of Muslim leaders in this world. Today, who is going to give any heed to what we are going to say unless we hold fast the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we get together.
Actually, Khilafat, is it necessary to implement Islamic law? Because since the inception of Khilafah, who killed the third Khalifa, Hazrat Usman, 3 persons, one of them were son of Hazrat Abu Bakr, who killed the Imam Hussein, he is son of another Khalifa, who killed even the Mukhtar al-Saqafi. He is none but grandson of Abu Bakr. So all these Khilafah, is it necessary to be under one Khilafah to implement Islamic law?
No, it's not. I was just giving an example that at that time, because of the political strength, they had the power to implement laws which could prevail in a larger part of the world. You were giving the example that capitalism is 500 years old. No, capitalism is as old as the life of this world. The real capitalism which you are talking about, which is 500 years old, is when banks were introduced. You see, the introduction of banks, actually the function of goldsmith, when people used to keep the belongings and they used to take IOU notes, that is how fiat currencies was introduced. That is something which transformed the capitalism. Earlier, the capitalism was based on real gold and silver coins. So that is something which transformed. And since Islamic economic system remained depressed during that period, and that was the period when Europe started investing in merchant navy. They started investing in ships. They started making colonies. They started exploiting the resources of third world countries to develop themselves. That is where they took a giant leap. And these economies are still suffering because, we don't have an identity of our own. We have become followers. And when you become followers, you cannot lead. For a leader, it is very important that you have strong faith, you follow a set plan. Otherwise, if you keep on following what the West is doing, then you are always going to remain 100 steps behind them. But if you want to succeed, if you want to compete with them, then as a Muslim, we have a strong faith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the best message. It is our ignorance, it is our weakness of faith that today we have not understood that what the real message is. And we enjoy saying ourselves that we are secular, we are a secular country, we are a secular leader. We do not mix religion with politics, we don't mix religion with the economy. And you will give examples of the US, Europe, and even South Korea, how they have flourished because they have been doing so well. So the real problem in third world countries or countries like ourselves is education, the literacy rate. But I'll give you an example of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is 99% educated. So why do they have this problem? You must have visited Sri Lanka. I haven't seen such mature, educated, and most patient people. I have never seen an airport where the visitors are sitting on the seat and waiting for their guests to arrive. They are always huddled in front of the arrival gate, whether it is London or whether it is Frankfurt. But here I have seen Sri Lankans are so patient. They are sitting on the seats which are available there. And when they sight their guests, they get up from their seat and they receive them. I've never seen this anywhere in the world, but they have their problems. And the problem is related to loan and interest. It is related to low economic activity, low real economic activity. We have got vast piece of land. We have got excellent talent. But that is not being used. And the best talent is then that is brain drained from our countries. So these are the issues.
So my last question for today, it is how Islamic economic system could be implementing in Muslim countries.
The first step, as I said earlier, the intellectuals have to sit together and we have to draw a roadmap. We have to prepare a guideline, and that guideline should be made available to our leaders, that this is something which is going to help you. I'll give an example of I've forgotten the name of the prime minister who came to power after World War II in UK. And sorry?
Margaret Thatcher.
No. It was in 1946 after Churchill, 1946. So the economy of UK was in shambles. And this person invited the economist to come up with a plan so that how this economy could be So this how this economy can be revived. And you would be surprised that he selected Umar's law, and the Umar's law is based on welfare. His name was Richard Attlee. Prime Minister Richard Attlee. He was from Labour Party, and he invited economists, and they all sat together, and Umar's law was implemented in the sense. And if you see today, UK is a mixed economy. It gives you free enterprise, but at the same time, until the age of 16, everything is free for children education. Health is free. They provide you free transport facility up till the age of 16. Children, they don't charge children traveling on the bus or the underground. So that is how the welfare system operated. So this is something which needs to be done. I mean, the economists of maybe Turkey, Iran, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Central Asian countries, they should sit together, design a roadmap or a clear guideline, and anything which is contradictory, anything which is ambiguous, that should be taken out. And here specifically, I think we have been pushed back at least 40 years by the introduction of this Islamic banking and finance system. This has been accepted because people have got their vested interests. In Muslim countries, normally there is a hue and cry that riba is forbidden, to why it is being used. So, so it's more of a compromise where the government is happy. They, instead of raising through bonds, they are raising funds through sukuks. The entrepreneurs are happy because they were earlier borrowing loans. Now they can take in the name of musharaka or ijara or whatever name you may call. So it's Arabic name, but at the same time, it helps them with leveraging their positions. So these are the things, with a very clear mind, we should join hands together and develop a roadmap.
Sir, thank you. Actually, this is the last minutes. I would request you for summarizing the total messages, whatever you have given during last 1 hour or more on Islamic economic system. What are your messages as summary?
I will reiterate that 4 things which must be eradicated from the prevailing economic system, that is interest, loan as money-making option, the concept of leveraging, and the prevailing system of banking. And there are 3 things which doesn't make prevailing Islamic banking system Islamic, because they are only using Arabic terminology. They are using a few additional documents to show sale purchase of commodity, which is fictitious in nature. And the third thing is that they are getting all this process endorsed by a Sharia advisor. So he is just putting his stamp that it is halal, and we are executing. If you remove these 3 things which I mentioned, terminology, a few additional paper, and endorsement, there is not an iota of a difference between Islamic and conventional banking.
Yes, sir. So thank you very much. Actually, for the audience, Islamic economy or Islamic economic system, it is not mandated by any human being who is not aware about what would be there under 5,000 letters or before 5,000 years ago. It is commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our Lord, the great creator, the most merciful one. There is no past, present, and future to it. Therefore, implementing this Islamic economic system will give us optimum benefit in this world as well as afterlife. So hopefully there will be an initiative, as our today's resource person, Mr. Rizwanul Haq, was mentioning, that all the Islamic scholars from Islamic countries should sit together, just sort out the prohibited things, like he was mentioning the interest, like he was mentioning a few other things, just remove these from Islamic countries and implement the alternative options allowed by Quran and Sunnah. Then obviously we'll get a peaceful country, peaceful world, and as Allah said, our wealth will be increased, not decreased. With this few notes, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us today in Meet the Expert session of Developing Bangladesh. And hopefully we'll be listening from you maybe on another day, maybe on another topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was
Developing Bangladesh, your knowledge partner. We take care of trade and investment, education and skills, economic diplomacy and economic development. If you would like to keep you updated on these issues, please subscribe to Developing Bangladesh. Thank you very much for watching till the last.